What can I say? Sometimes it's easier that way. And what can I do?
I would try to grow a mustache like his, but I grow facial hair like a prepubescent child, so... I shave like once every 2 months, and this is what I have!
I have to be constantly vigilant or I turn into the friggin' Wolfman. And speaking of, Jeremy. Actually, yeah, that's nothing.
Yeah, I am a freaking bear. But keeping with the theme of comedies, Airplane.
Airplane! Nice.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Nielsen was a serious actor before that movie.
He was, wasn't he? Isn't that insane?
He says the Abrams brothers, they brought out the crazy person that was
Was
in.
Airplane Zuckers, Abrams Zuckers?
Yes, their first movie.
I did not know. I thought Kentucky Fried Movie was.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, forgot that one.
Because that was basically just because they had a stage, like a what do you call it? Like a stage play, a comedy stage play, where they did like improv skits, and Kentucky Fried Movie was just a bunch of their improv skits. So I have their first real movie, because Kentucky Fried Movie was more a collection of shorts than it was an actual movie.
But yeah, Airplane, that's another one. Every time you watch it, you're going to catch something you did not see or hear the first time, or the last time.
Eventually you'll run out, but...
No, you won't. See, what secret is, every couple years, they sneak in, and they have a machine, and they reprogram and add new jokes in everybody's copies of DVDs and Blu-rays and 4Ks.
That's a lot better than I was going to say.
Okay.
I like the idea of his comedy conspiracy thing going on.
But what were you going to say?
I was just going to say that you watch it enough times, by the time you find something
You
new,
forgot the old stuff?
There you go.
That's not bad, and that came to mind. But I'm really enjoying his LOLuminati.
Yeah, I like the LOLuminati.
That's because he comes up with crazy things, I come up with logical things.
Yeah.
Which is weird, because normally me and Josh's dynamic is he's the idea guy and I'm the detail guy. Anyway, next movie. I don't remember what year this is. I have written 2016, but that is not even right. I must have mistyped maybe 60s. Okay, so I mentioned the greatest director of all time. My favorite movie by the greatest director of all time. And if we did a top 50, I would incorporate probably 2 or 3 more of his movies. Akira Kurosawa and his movie Rashomon. This movie is so prevalent. The idea that multiple people can witness the same event and walk away with different details is called the Rashomon effect. It is a samurai, his wife, and a thief. The samurai is killed, the thief steals something, the woman is violated. And through a medium, we learn the samurai side. The wife and the thief both give their sides of the story, and a woodcutter who claims to have witnessed the whole thing, and I think his version is portrayed as the truth. All are radically different. In the samurai, he's a nobleman who only goes killed because the thief cheated and his wife was raped. In the woman's story, she seduced the thief, and in the thief's story, he seduced her and killed him in honorable combat. And in the woodcutter's story, they all acted like a bunch of gets. But the woodcutter's a poor man who is talking about 2 nobles in the time of samurai and a thief. So I find it very easy to believe that his story is falsified to make the 3 of them look bad. Still, it's a great movie. Only 88 minutes, and the man knows how to frame a shot. If you ever watched 7 Samurai, since it was the first movie Hidden Fortress. First movie ever shot in widescreen. So he's like, okay, since I have a wider screen, instead of having the samurai fight with swords, they're gonna fight with spears so I can make use of the wider screen. The man's a genius. And 7 Samurai was, any of you who've seen The Magnificent Seven, is an American director said, I'm gonna make 7 Samurai into a cowboy movie.
And it's gotten several different treatments since then.
Yep. So the rule is, if you're gonna rip off a director, rip off Kurosawa. George Lucas learned that lesson too.
Yeah.
It's not that hard. He made a lot of movies.
Oh my god, he made a lot. He made the best version of Macbeth in Throne of Blood.
And one of the few people who, in spite of making a lot of movies, did not make a lot of shock.
That is true. There's a couple crappy crime movies he made in there, but he made a lot of good movies.
Well,
Number 11.
I think it's time we go back to the future. The first one. I did three. Now I'm talking about two. One. Talking about one, sorry. Back to the Future Part 1. Which, it set up the world, the characters, and still really good, and just... It's not my favorite out of the franchise. I'm just saying, two will come later.
That's weird. Most people quote one as their favorite.
No.
Josh is a rebel. Fight me.
Guess so.
Nice.
But, Dale?
Well, after this one, a year later in '78, Superman, the movie. The gold standard for translating comic books to screen at that time.
It's pretty good.
I actually don't have that one on my list, but it is great. Also, I'm going to clarify something, and this is becoming more and more... This explanation is becoming more and more popular, and I like it. He did not spin the Earth backwards. He was traveling back in time, and the Earth going backwards was his vision, his way of seeing the world going back in time. And you know that because you see the reverse shots of things getting rebuilt that had collapsed.
Yeah.
So it's not the world spinning backwards, it's him going back in time, and by him reversing time, the Earth spin backwards.
Yeah.
And also, come on, Gene Hackman as Lex Luthor. That's just brilliant.
I know, oh yeah.
So yeah. Yeah. Superman.
Something, real estate, something everybody wants and they're not making any more of.
Yeah.
But it's not free real estate. So we're not doing that internet meme.
He,
Okay.
his plot is just so comic book brilliant. I'm gonna buy up all this useless land. Then I'm gonna knock half of California into the sea, and it'll all be oceanfront property. And that is so dumb, but that is just like comic book brilliant.
Yeah, especially when you... Because we're used to seeing Lex, at least people my age who grew up with the old Superman comics, we're used to seeing Lex Luthor as a sort of mad scientist type. He was always using his IQ to build some kind of scientific device or something to defeat Superman.
Oh, it does a thing.
Sorry.
Oh god, it's shaking now. And with that, Jeremy, any thoughts on this shaking cat?
No.
Okay.
I do have thoughts on Gene Hackman, namely Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh, yeah.
Ah, okay.
The greatest criminal... Willy Wonka is the greatest criminal mind of our generation.
Yes. Does it ever shut up, or do I have to stop shaking it?
I don't know. I just got it today. Okay. Jeremy, number 11.
Willy Wonka.
Willy Wonka.
Oh, with both? Yeah.
Wonka. And the terrifying train ride of terror that just came out of nowhere. And then, can we call that a big lipped alligator moment?
Yeah, but extremely terrifying. The boat scene is remembered by everybody, whether they saw the movie or not. It's like psychically imprinted on the entire population.
It has become a collective nightmare of humanity.
Gene Wilder trying to be dark and scary.
It succeeded.
Damn right it did.
Which is why it's so dang scary.
Of course, if you really look at the movie, there's a lot of terrifying, like, Is it Veruca Salt who eats the blueberry?
Yeah. There's body horror out the butt in that movie.
And see, that's why I don't think it would be considered. It would be a Big Lip Alligator movie. Maybe for that point in the movie.
Yeah, maybe, you're right.
But then the rest of the movie is just... That's the first sign things are gonna go... No, the first sign was Augustus getting sucked into a pipe.
Yes.
But apart from that, that was... Oh, this was an accident.
Yeah.
You know, and so the boat was a conscious choice by Wonka to mess with people.
Yeah.
And the movie inspired the name of the band that inspired the name of the band Seether, Veruca Salt. I like the band Veruca Salt and I like the band Seether. I just felt the need to throw it in there.
Okay.
Is it my turn?
Yeah, I guess so.
I'm very sorry, sir. Nacho Vigalondo?
Looks like Vigalondo.
Vigalondo. 2016's Colossal. It is a dark comedy about a woman who, when she goes through a playground, summons a kaiju in Seoul, Korea. And most of this is a metaphor for her rampant alcoholism. Hilarious! Yeah, it's not funny, but it is a great movie. And as somebody who has dealt with rampant alcoholism, there was a real nerve struck with me, and I said, this guy has someone he knows, someone he loves, a family member who's dealt with alcoholism, because it was really real. And the villain of the movie, his entire thing is he comes off as, oh, no, I'm a nice guy here. Look, I know you just moved, so I got you a nice TV. And then holds all this stuff over her head, because he's using her alcoholism, he owns a bar, and he's using her alcoholism to control her. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's terrifying. Why is this a comedy? There's nothing funny about this movie. This is the reason you got into the ABCs of death, Nacho Vigalondo.
I need to see this movie.
You do need to see this movie, Jeremy. It is powerful. And I won't spoil it, because you guys need to see this movie, but the ending is just... it is just a punch in the stomach, because... Yeah, seriously. I almost kind of want to just do a spoiler for people who have seen this movie to discuss it.
Yeah.
Maybe in a later video. Anyway, Josh, please lighten the mood.
Well, speaking of kaiju marching through a city, Ghostbusters 2, Lady Liberty.
Which inspired one of my fights in one of our Scion campaigns.
That was kind of fun, yeah. But yeah, I personally felt that Ghostbusters 2 was better than the first one. It's one of those rare moments that I felt the sequel was better.
I think that happened a lot in the 80s.
Until you got to a certain point. When you got to like the 3s and 4s, then they started falling apart.
Well, in the 80s, and I think that happened with a lot too with older video games too, where the first one did something great, the second one perfected the formula.
You know, I wouldn't even say the 80s, because I think we could bring this to the 90s, because you had Spider-Man 2, you had Blade 2, which were both marked improvements over the original. I mean...
Okay. Yeah.
So I think in a lot of ways it is just a matter of, we wrote this story, it was a little rough around the edges, we learned our lessons, let's clean it up a little bit. Also in the superhero movies you have the advantage of you don't have to tell the superhero's origin too, so...
Nowadays, though, they tend to be schlock in the second.
Half the time we're schlock in the first one.
Yeah.
Alright.
The problem with modern superhero movies is this desperate requirement to create a shared universe.
Yeah.
Well, most of them have had that from the comic books.
Yeah, but comic books aren't the same medium as film. That's why the Watchmen movie wasn't nearly as good as the comic book. Alan Moore wrote the comic book to show what specifically the medium of a comic book would master in. And also to take a bunch of characters that DC got from Charlton Comics and completely make them unable to be integrated into the DC's common universe.
But they did anyway.
Well, they said, okay, you're not allowed to use question anymore. Like, fine, I'll make Rorschach. I'll make another faceless dude. He's got a brown trench coat. He doesn't have a blue trench coat. Not the same character.
Yeah.
What about this Blue Beetle guy? Well, he's in a brown suit instead of a blue suit.
And he's an owl. But anyway, Dale?
Yep. Number 11?
10, I think. Well,
Oh, yeah, 10. We are in our top 10 now.
Yeah.
Yep,
Oh, my
we hit
God.
the top 10, home stretch. And I went with Star Trek the Motion Picture. Because
It was the
I'm-
first time you were seeing this cast on the big screen.
Yeah, I am a hopeless devotee of the classic Trek, and it was fun seeing them get back together. Granted, the film started going a little overboard on the spatial effects, because they, somewhere along the line, some producers said, oh, let's make a modern 2001, so they had to put a lot of trippy stuff in.
Yeah, I honestly felt the first Star Trek was kind of a chore to get through, personally, just for me. But I also didn't grow up on Star Trek, so...
Yeah, well, the scenes with the original cast, the human part, are the parts that I like best of it, so...
I thought it was a little long. They could have cut some stuff.
Well,
Specifically,
like-
like the sprawling, constant scenes of like the Enterprise. Like we didn't need just these giant sweeping shots of the. We know what the Enterprise looks like, guys. Come on, let's plot.
And they could have trimmed a little bit for when they went inside the cloud, but that's where they wanted to do the modern
Yeah.
2001. So
Yeah.
put all the trippy stuff in there, man.
I'm going to say the least controversial thing I will ever say. I think of the original motion pictures, 2 is the best.
Again, I agree completely.
I think that might be the least controversial thing I have ever said on this channel.
Because the original did have a better story.
Jeremy, 10.
I guess I'll go with Star Trek as well. I don't know the name of it. I don't even know which number it was. The one with the Borg going into the past.
Oh, First Contact
First Contact,
Okay.
that's the one.
with the Next Generation crew.
Yes.
Yeah, that
Because-
one was pretty good.
I grew up with the Next Generation crew. And
Yeah, I did too.
Personally, I like them better than the first. I have seen the first. Most people say that if you've seen the First Generation crew, you like the first better. No, I've seen the first. No, I like the second one better.
Star Trek is an adventure series. Star Trek The Next Generation is a political drama.
I'll admit there are a lot of miss episodes in the second.
Well, of course there are, but
in
there's
the
a lot
Next
of missed
Generation.
episodes of the first one too.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the first one's kind of a campy, almost like a pulp series. It almost feels like a Flash Gordon or a.
Yeah, the original
Something like-
Star Trek was a pulps.
Well, Gene Roddenberry with the first one, he was imagining when we started going out there.
Mm-hmm.
His original words for the concept was a wagon train to the stars.
You know what's funny about Star Trek is, they say it's liked by both political parties. The liberals like it because it's got this unity and almost like almost feels like a communist state where, you know, rank exists, but it's not like this overbearing element, and like all these peoples are working together in harmony. And conservatives like it because of the rigidness and the militaristic aspects of it. So Gene Roddenberry is able to tap into every political lunatic's favorite thing.
Well, there was an episode. Well, actually, this was an episode of Deep Space Nine. But
There's the political one.
well, their station wound up as like front line against the Borg. There was a guy in there, a renegade Starfleet officer in one episode, who likened the Federation to the Borg.
Yeah.
Because you join the Federation, yeah, you got to follow their rules. You wear their uniforms. You do everything they do. Where they're just, we just allow them a little more personal freedom, is all.
Yeah.
Deep Space Nine wished it was Babylon 5. Fight me.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Next Generation is kind of the original Star Trek was when we went out and found these planets. Next generation is after they had been colonized and settled and everything.
Guess it's your turn.
And this is going to mark the last time you see a non-horror movie on my list. 2008, Jon Favreau's Iron Man. I don't have a lot to say about this one. Almost everything I've had to say, you can go back and watch my Stark Raving Mad rant, which Jeremy's not in.
Man.
So just print out a picture, Jeremy, and set him off to the side, and it'll be just like he's there.
It'll make you more comfortable.
Is that the only one Jeremy's not in?
I think
believe
so. I think so.
I think it's the only one Jeremy's not in.
I'll talk about it as much as I usually do too.
Yeah, exactly. Alright, Josh. 9.
Back to the Future Part 2. It had a lot of connections with me when I was young, and it's also fun now. When I was younger, I kept looking forward to 2015 to see the technology we would have that was depicted in. Now, I look back at 2015 at the stuff that we don't have and the stuff that we've gotten that's better that was in Back to the Future Part 2. I really love, that was the huge aspect I loved in Part 2, was not going back to 1955. I loved the future segments. They were great to me. And that's why I personally liked 2 better than 1.
I don't remember. I saw it when I was a kid. I don't remember it that well.
There's one joke.
Revisit.
There's one joke that I know. It was more funny when it was originally made, but Marty was walking by a theater where they were advertising Jaws 13.
That's not that far off.
in 3D, and it gave like a sample as he was walking by where a 3D Jaws, badly computer generated, but you know what, deal with it, came out all polygonal, and it was giant and going after Marty, and he was like, ah! And then vanished because it was just a hologram, and he recovered from it, and he was like, still looks fake, and walks off.
This is my collection of movies I need to see. So yeah.